Company.
Yes, it is. We're back here for another edition of Bell and Company. I am Mario J. Bell, that voice you hear there, and she's with us this week. Welcome, Libby. Hey, Libby.
I'm Grandma Tarders, and this is my granddaughter.
Yeah, you brought them all. You remembered to bring her. You're getting old, you know.
And I like to say, I hate Elon Musk.
Oh, okay. She's just getting right. Man, oh boy. She was before the show. She was really on a little bit of a rant, but we're not talking about that today. We got to do a show. We just have to have Libby just have a little, moment, like a pedestal or, what's up with Libby or something. We got to do that.
Have like a little Libby segment.
Yeah, I think so. Because, man, some days it's like she's just itching to talk about it. Well, hello and welcome, even though you're mad at Elon Musk. We got that. Okay. And we didn't even, he's already talking. Hey, Joe, welcome to the show. Hello, Joe Brunker.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I guess you're doing good. You're having a good day today. Somebody was in town visiting you. I saw videos.
Yeah. I'm going to see her tonight before she leaves tomorrow. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to where you will eventually end up, I guess.
It was her birthday today.
Yeah. It's her birthday today. She is.
So who are we talking about? We didn't say.
29. Lauren, my girlfriend, Lauren.
Hello,
Chapman.
Lauren. Happy birthday. Awesome. Everybody's just
Don't you pay attention to your Facebook
I
page?
do. That's why I wanted to bring it up. But you started yelling about the Doge guy, as we'll call him. So, like I said, she needs to have a little pedestal. I don't know what we call it. We'll think of something for her. On the old show we did, and our guest. Well, let's welcome our guest. Hello, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
You are also friends with Joe. A lot of people have know Joe pretty well. Go ahead. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Tony Fightmaster. I live in the Kankakee, Illinois area.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah.
That's close to where he works, and you work at, and that's how you know Joe, right?
Yeah, that's right. Olivet Nazarene University, where Joe was a student.
Yeah.
And,
Go Olivet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I used to go down there and party. I never went there, but I did like the nightlife there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess so. I've heard there was nightlife there. I just didn't go like out there. I was at college.
It was in between Kankakee and Bourbonnais. You know, the whole area is kind of like, well, the Bears used to go there. So, do they still go? Where are they doing now? I don't even know where they're training.
They used to go there. Yeah. They stop a couple of years back.
That's right. I think they finished a facility in up north. I forget the name of what it is. Hallis Hall.
Yeah.
Hallis Hall.
Yeah. And so now they just use
about 140 million or 180 million. And when they finished that, I think it was around 2018. They started.
They just went back up there all the time. Yeah.
They were at Olivet for 18 years.
I remember that, and before Olivet, they were in Platteville, Wisconsin. So I was
right.
like, wow, they really bounce around.
It was fun having them at Olivet. A lot of students got opportunity for finance, so like that was pretty helpful with quite a few people.
You were there when the Bears were there.
Yeah.
So you got to see the players sometimes, or they didn't actually go to Olivet, did they? Go to
they would be
campus?
on the campus.
They did.
Times, yeah.
They stayed in the dorm rooms. They had huge beds, and sometimes they would leave stuff behind, and the students got to enjoy that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We don't need to go into detail, but I think I know what you mean there. That's cool. But what they do have special beds made? Because they're probably bigger than the average student.
They had big beds.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, lots of probably like televisions. I believe, didn't they? Like
they did. They left
TVs behind.
They left a lot of that technology behind. And,
So when I think of Olivet, that's what I think of immediately, and that's why I brought it up. I immediately attached the Bears. So maybe I shouldn't do that, but it's just they were there for. Did you say 18 years? I didn't know it was that long.
18 years.
Quite a while. Yeah.
I used to live right by the football field, and I could look right out my window and watch them.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you moved elsewhere? Congrats.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we sold our house in 21.
Okay.
And lived out in the country, rented a farmhouse for a while, Joe. And
then
we found a little bungalow to downsize too.
I love bungalows.
Still in Bourbonnais or Kankakee?
In Kankakee.
Oh, Kankakee.
Well,
okay.
It's kind of Bradley.
Right on the border, right?
Oh, your Bradley area, kind of by the woods area, Taco John's, like
down near the river.
Okay. The Taco John's.
I always look at Taco John's.
I used to like Taco John's because
they don't have it. There's none up here.
They're not. They're in. You were asking off the air. I was in Las Vegas on the radio for 3 years, and Taco John's was big out there. So.
I went down to Bourbonnais a couple weeks ago, and I just went to the Kankakee River State Park, and then I went and got Taco
He
John's.
got his
and then
Taco
I drove
John's.
home.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
That's
feeling
funny.
an adventure.
Yes.
So they're known for their Taco John's and Olivet University, where you're at, and the Bears, I guess. Okay. So, so again, the two of you know each other from a program that you actually started. So let's
Right.
talk about that.
Yeah. Back in 08, I had retired after about 20 years. For a little while, I had some business going on, and thought I would zero in on music ministry along with doing my business. But VP had called me back in 08. And so I came back part-time initially, and then came back full-time as the director of church relations. And while I
Wow.
was doing that, I was in my VP's office one day, and there were a couple new students that were there that he wanted to help them engage, and they were thinking about ministry, praying about ministry. He said, Tony, why don't you take them with you like we used to? We used to take student recruiters out who would speak in churches and talk about all of
Very
that.
nice.
And but these guys were praying about ministry. He said, why don't you take them out, let them preach or share their testimony, drop them off at churches on the way to where you're going. And so that was 09. And,
What were you doing before that? Just to go backwards a little farther, you were working full time at the university in a similar field then?
Yeah, when I graduated from Olivet, I went into youth and music ministry. I worked with youth full time, and directed choirs, directed musicals in churches, led worship, did that kind of thing for about 5-6 years.
He's got a great voice. Just want to say that.
And you did that outside. You went to Olivet, then you did this outside of the university.
Churches in Ohio and Michigan, and then I started singing full time. I traveled the country singing, doing concerts and music and revivals and that kind of thing. And while I was doing that, then the vice president at that time called me and asked me if I'd think about coming back. That was 1986.
Who was that?
That was Dr. Ted Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Ted Lee.
I just want to know the history.
Yeah.
Since I went there.
He's probably the most imitated voice in the
really?
history of Olivet Nazarene University.
How does that go?
Well, it's kind of like this, Joe. If you came to Olivet in the 1970s, you would have heard Dr. Ted Lee.
Okay. now, if ever I hear him, like, oh, that's who they were talking about. Okay.
And I have imitated him in front of him. So, but I'm not the best. We have another guy that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But so I came back.
I loved it though.
Yeah, I was the admissions counselor for the state of Illinois for about 10 years. And then I became the director of transfer admissions for another 10 years. And we have about 50.
When you say the state of Illinois, you mean like Illinois State University of Illinois?
The entire state of Illinois.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. The actual state. I got you. Okay, not a
Recruiting
university.
Students to all of that, doing the admissions work. And when I was director of transfer admissions, I would go in and out of the community colleges and work with advisors. We have about 50 community colleges. In the state of
But you were
Illinois.
doing that for Olivet. is
For
what I'm saying.
Olivet.
Oh, you were still okay.
Mhm.
That's what I want to clarify.
Yeah. I would
Actually
go to
working for
the
them,
community
okay.
colleges and work with the advisors and talk with students about transferring to Olivet.
So you have a long history of working with the
Yeah.
university then.
Yeah, so that was 20 years, and then I came back in 08. So it's been, it's heading toward another 20.
Another 20. Wow.
For
He's
sure.
retired and back going again. What? Just
Yeah.
keep going. What the heck? Why not?
So
He's
while
good
I
at what he does.
While I was the director of church relations, I started this program with these two students, and they had such a great time that turned into 4 students who preached in about 13 churches the next semester, and those 4 turned into 13 the next year that preached in 64 churches. Those 13 turned to 20 the next year that preached in 131 churches. And
Wow.
my vice president came to me one day and he said, Tony, we've got to pray about this. We don't have enough money we don't have a budget for this.
I was going to say that escalated quickly, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Definitely a good way.
Lot-
Not a bad thing.
It
That
was-
really
It was great.
grew fast.
And while I was speaking to a group of pastors up in northern Michigan, I had a retired pastor come to me and ask me a question. He said, Tony, if someone wanted to give money to all of that, could he tell them what to do with it? And I said, I don't know. I don't work in that area, but I think you could. So I connected him with the right guy, and handful of months later, he walked out of that development officer's office and had rolled over $36,000 of stock, which covered my $33,000 of operation budget that I had put together. And from that day in probably 2011 to this, we've always had enough money for students like Joe for
Wonderful.
scholarships, for travel expenses, for stipends, and it's
his
so it's-
initial donation kind of
It started and then
snowballed, and then other people started,
Yeah,
or the university started
that
back
one
in.
couple has turned into somewhere between 100 and 200 individuals and churches that have supported the program. So it's
okay. So not
it's-
even the university supporting it. Outside.
it's all outside. It's all
Okay.
donors.
It's all donors. Okay.
Yeah, the university doesn't have to spend a dime.
Wow.
It's all
Honestly, it was a great time there. Truly awesome to like kind of meet so many people and just have that opportunity. It was definitely a blessing.
How did you meet up with Joe? Did he just hear about it on a flyer or something, or church? How'd that happen?
Yeah, I found it. I saw a poster for it at like Ludwig,
Right.
which is the dining hall, right?
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Ludwig.
student center at that
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. So I saw a flyer for it, and I was like, okay, I want to join, because I was kind of already doing ministry before that. I went to James River Leadership College in James River Assembly in Springfield, Missouri.
I mean, you
for
touched
3
on a little
years.
bit on here, but not just the first time in detail. So that you did it before, and then now you're at Olivet doing it. What years was this been?
That was
His second 20 years, I'm guessing, right?
It was like 2000. I think it was 2014 to 2016. Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah.
But yeah,
years
a
ago
couple
already.
years after that, a couple years after I got out, I just started to like drift away. I got embittered, and it's like the bitter root has been really tough to get rid of. I've tried, a lot of prayer, a lot of reading. It's just I've grown only more bitter, and it's a really big struggle.
You got to
for
go
me.
back to the program.
I
Talk to them again.
loved preaching. It was great. And I know, like, I can't with all the things that happened in my life before I came to God, I can't deny that Jesus is Christ. I can't. Just because I saw what I saw. Like, I saw like life change through that point.
If he wanted to come back and work
but it
with you
was-
again, can they do that, or
No,
you have to be
no.
a student?
You have to be a student.
Okay, you do have to be a
that-
student.
That's
all right.
preaching ambassador student.
Okay.
And no, it's just more of I started to feel like a bitter root about a lot of things, and then I started to feel bitter towards myself. And because the more bitter I got, the more hurting people hurt people sort of deal I became. And it's just it's a struggle. It's
And
trying
that
to figure
happened.
that out.
You
and
think because
navigate.
you got away from the program, or just out of the school?
It's not about the program.
Yeah.
It's about like it's about like having a relationship with God, the God that saved you, and that's what it was to me at that point. After I'd went to rehab, I used to be a combatant atheist, like where I would literally fight people and tooth and nail and tell them God is not real.
over
Yeah.
religion and God. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Libby gets mad about that too.
I was heavy intense on it. And no, like I saw so many things that really just changed my perspective on that, where my life was literally I was facing 2 years in jail. I had cops out to put me away all the time. I had a $10,000 hit out on me, like to the point where like people wanted my head. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to survive any of this. And then I made one really foxhole prayer, but at the same time, it was desperate. It was a broken heart, and it just led me out of that. So it was
Do you think what you learned back in the days when you were working with them helped you come back, or
like
come back
being
to
being
having
there
the
helped quite a bit, it's
guidance
like, and
there?
I don't think I can ever deny it. It's just ultimately the point of like where my heart wants to go with it, like, and like where you want to the closest relationship you'll have, even though he's like the hound of heaven, he really hunts you down, like Charles Spurgeon says. But it's just more of just when you leave the flock, he's coming after you like the prodigal. He's gonna run to you when you start crawling back, or he's gonna go seek that extra sheep that left the flock out of the 100. He's gonna go find you. Regardless of where you're at.
Well, are you guys still in touch then, talking about this type
We
of
talk.
stuff?
We
Okay.
talk.
we
I hope
talk.
so.
I've been following Joe and praying for Joe for years, and I'm sure he's praying for me.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we learn a little more about Joe every show, because we talk a little bit off the air and in emails. But yeah, when we're on the air, I just hear another store. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean,
He told
know,
that story
yeah,
before.
but not that much detail. That's for sure.
You don't pay attention.
I know he didn't get that detailed. I would have remembered.
Yeah, I
that.
definitely did get that detailed.
Come on,
Because
Libby.
I definitely
just like
have, kind of just been feeling it more lately. Just kind of seeking more after that. Just trying to figure that out. It was just ultimately a lot of the communities that I found myself in were just burned me out, and I would start looking at
communities
my own
meaning
self
like
and
people you're
find
hanging
shame in myself.
your friends and family, not family, so friends and coworkers,
church communities, even
really,
like certain dynamics and leadership roles and things of that nature can really pull you apart, and they can pull apart like the strongest of faiths at times, because a spiral of people around you, it's it brings about some weaknesses.
Well, you're talking about all this. How do you feel? Where does everybody else that's been doing the program? Do you talk to them about, like, give them advice on this and say, okay, where are we at? Come back and think about,
I follow several. In fact, Joe's probably you're probably the fourth preaching ambassador I've been in connection. Former preaching ambassador I've been in connection with in the last week and a half.
Really?
Oh yeah.
For more recent.
And,
okay.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Something going on in the world, huh?
Well, relationships. You love people and you stay connected. And not all these young men and young ladies who did the program went into full-time ministry. Some of them are in business. Some of them are in, their nursing, their education. They're doing some other area. But
we had Sam Kwok and Dan Kwok was a music ambassador.
Yeah, in fact, I was just with Daniel Kwok.
Oh, really?
This last week he came down for the.
We had him on the show.
Conference.
Yeah, they were on the show about 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
Time's flying, but they've been on.
Yeah. So Daniel was a music ambassador. That's Sam's brother.
Yeah,
we had Sam on. Not Daniel, but okay.
Yeah, and Daniel's super talented as well. And,
great singer.
Yeah.
Both of them are good.
Yeah, they are. He came and spoke. He was one of the speakers. He also judged some of the pitch competition. We have high school and college students come and pitch businesses. This creator conference has to do with the entrepreneurial major. And so we had about 800 guests on campus this past week.
Oh,
Tim Tebow came to speak in our chapel.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All of that was going on this week. It was wild. And the weekend before, I was with Jacob Salem.
And wasn't Zobrist there recently?
Yeah.
Again?
Zobrist was there in the last 2 weeks.
Jacob Salem, he's like a marketing guru guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a speaker. He's a coach.
Younger kid too, right?
Yeah, he's he's about Joe's age, but early 30s.
Early 30s, yeah.
I really want to meet that guy who preached at Olivet once, who wrote the book Chasing Francis.
Oh,
that gave me a different type of respect for Catholicism and its roots, in a sense. But because it was like when I became a non-denominational Christian, like at the time when I kind of came to faith, I was told Catholicism was like the devil, but it was like the roots and the heritage of it was just kind of a different kind of reality.
Yeah, the church.
Wait, I want to talk about that for a second.
Ahead.
You're in the ministry background here. What are they talking? What does he mean that Catholics are the devil? What are you talking about?
A lot of people think that it's just false. Like there's just different theologies, and some people, like at the churches that I was at the time, not necessarily Olivet or anything like that, because Olivet's welcoming of people who just want to go to college.
It's not necessarily just faith based. I mean, they do have.
Yeah,
it's
you usually go to chapel.
chapel's required.
I was going to say it is faith based. My bad.
Yeah,
it is faith based.
It's Olivet Nazarene University, connected with the denomination of the Church of the Nazarene. However, we probably have about 40 different churches and denominations represented on our student body. So very ecumenical in spirit. And I don't know if you know this, Joe, but probably in the top 3 of those 40 would be Catholics and Baptists.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
The big Catholic church is right there, and a lot of them go there.
Exactly. From my learning, I happen to be Roman Catholic. I went to, and I've said this on other shows, I went to high school in Oak Park, Illinois, Fenwick High School, college prep. lot of people went to Olivet and Notre Dame. Those are the big ones that people went to.
I got kicked out of Catholic high school.
She got kicked out of Catholic
My dad
school.
jumped out of a second-story window of St. Albert's elementary
His
school.
dad jumped
Really?
out, but the
Oh,
thing
yeah,
is,
you did tell the
the
story.
Catholic
I
was like the
remember.
way. I thought, like in the old days, you went from basically no faith, and then everybody wasn't a Pope Catholic. I mean, for a while there, that was it. Am I right on this? You can elaborate on that. That was kind of the faith.
Well, I'm not, quite honestly, Joe probably has more formal education for ministry than I do. My undergrad degree was church music. And
You're the music guy.
yeah,
Okay, well, you like the
and-
Catholic Church. They have the
yeah.
whole thing, the choir and everything.
Well, it's interesting. My father was a pastor, and I grew up in the Nazarene Church. And it's interesting there's whatever people are, when they're afraid of something, they tend to paint that organization or
evil.
those people as evil when people are afraid.
That's the truth.
I noticed that growing up. And of course, the older you get, the more you're seeking truth and the more you realize people are people. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the light. That's who we're looking to. But that doesn't mean we're going to, not every church is perfect. Let's just put it like that. People are not perfect.
People are very imperfect.
Yeah. And so there's all kinds of stories you can hear about Nazarene churches, Catholic churches, Baptist, it doesn't matter.
I guess the Muslim faith will argue with us and tell us that we're like, whatever they think of anything outside of Muslim faith.
And we have Muslims that come to all of that. We have students that come they're not. They know that they're going to be required to go to chapel. They know that there's going to be prayer in class, that kind of thing. And I've asked myself, why do they want to come to all of that? And
I think it's just really good academics too.
I think it's because they know they're going to get a quality academic degree, and at the same time, they know they're going to be respected and treated with love. I know
like that.
So when you live out what Jesus taught, you're not going to be treating people wrongly. It's just
I don't think so. That's the whole point. That's like the school has their.
The Republican Party treats everyone like crap.
Oh, stop it! She's really mad about everything.
Well, and that's why I feel like it's like the hardest part for me, because like I know the truth, but it's like I have so much bitterness that I have been angry at people, and I have been spiteful towards.
How about
people.
Republicans? You mad at Republicans?
Well, the government. I don't even talk government anymore, because that's just a whole other cluster of itself. It's like,
I mean,
it's just more of just my own bitterness and anger. I am when I instantly start to see someone for like consistent things that have been addressed that don't actually get addressed, I finally just snap, and I'm done. I cut and run. And it's like I'm just, once I'm angry, and I don't want to be around, so I just kind of stay away. I push everybody out, and I
Sounds
just
like
kind
me.
of put up walls.
I think you guys got to start thinking about what you learned in the program that he was helping you with.
I know it's more about your faith in God. Like I've been trying to explain that in that sense. It's not about the program. It's about God. It's like, but it's at the same time, I'm so bitter at not only those people, but I'm also bitter at myself, because I can't seem to curb what I'm so bitter at myself about.
And I keep calling it program. What is it? So ministry is what how do you refer to what you're doing there at the university?
He's not talking about that program. He's just talking about
it's not a program. It's life and faith.
He's just
It's
talking about
faithful.
churches.
And I'm saying, what do you do at the university to help people that feel this way? Like, they've already graduated, they've already been the brand ambassador. Does the university have like a reach, where they reach out or something?
Well,
He reached out, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, that's me. I'm going to stay connected. It doesn't matter. I've got another young man lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan right now, that we're staying in very close touch, and he's hit the bottom a few times, and I love him, and so I'm just going to continue to reach out and be Jesus for him. That's that's who we're supposed to be. So, it's not, for me, it's not
Wonderful.
It's not about an organization. It's not about it's about being the hands and the feet of Jesus in people's lives.
Be there at their lowest, because like, I mean,
Yeah.
those people are still people.
Yeah.
They're still souls. And usually the pompous won't even hear you when you're there for them. And I've been that. And I've also been on the other side of that.
Are you out? I mean, you do so much stuff. Are you keeping in touch with people that like look for advice? Like the two of you together, have a community that you get together and do things?
I'm not as one. I don't try to give advice as much as just be a friend to them. Whenever I see a person who struggles, because like I'm in no room. I'm in no place to give advice.
Quite honestly, I don't think I need to be giving people advice all the time. I think I need to listen. If I'm going to reach out to somebody, and I'm no longer the director of, I don't run the program anymore. I'm no longer the director of church relations.
What do you do now? Yeah.
That's what I was just going to get to. What are we doing today?
What began to happen was I began to work with donors quite a bit that supported that program. I still work with key donors that support that program. But back in 2016, about the time that Joe had graduated, I had connected with our vice president. I said, I think we ought to make a move sooner than later. And what I was referring to was we had talked about me going full time into development, which is raising money, working full time, working with donors, alumni, and donors who want to partner with Olivet by giving financially and also other ways. And so I travel the country and I work directly with people that are blessed and have assets, and they want to, this is part of God's kingdom that they want to invest in, because they see, guys like Joe, they see other students that are doing well. They want to invest in. Olivet's motto is education with a Christian purpose.
Check out
Yes.
Jared's church. Jared Lynn Ritchie. I've been keeping up on him.
Yeah.
I've been watching his church grow in Oak Lawn. It's been really awesome to watch.
He went through the program with you at the university?
Went through the program, and he actually ran the program for me as an upperclassman and grad student.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
wonderful.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, it's called the Ridgeland Church of the Nazarene, and it's in Oakland. Or what do you?
Oak Lawn.
Oak Lawn, yeah.
Oak
Oak Lawn.
Yeah.
Right
And
next to Burbank in Bridgeview.
in fact,
Southwest
I just saw Jared Saturday. He was down at the district assembly down at College Church.
Well,
College Church.
He's always been a good guy.
Yeah, he's
What do you do for your friend that's in Grand Rapids? Will you go and like pray with them, or do you meet with them? Just
when
phone calls?
When I'm up in Michigan and I'm meeting with donors up in Michigan, I'll seek him out and I'll take him to lunch, and we spend time together. And then this week he called me and he had some good news. He said, "Tony, I know when I call you, a lot of times it's tough times, but I just want to share some good news with you." So he had some good news
Wonderful.
for me.
You keep saying wonderful. It is wonderful. All this stuff is just great to hear.
Yeah. So we stay connected. When I'm up there, I try to connect with him and others as well.
Wonderful. So, but you touched on that. They do have you traveling around now to help with the fundraising side of things that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm across from California to the East Coast. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I have about 140 to 50 people that are assigned to me, but I'm always connecting with other people. That it's
So that became
God thing.
That became what you do still for the university then, like
Yeah.
full time. I guess so.
Full time, and then people call me for everything under the sun because I've been there for so long.
Yeah, you must know a lot about Olivet being there.
Oh,
That's
he
gonna
does. He
It's like
does.
30 some odd years we're talking here.
Yeah, I
Plus you went there.
I went there. I met my wife there. I told that story today. We had a church potluck, and I was telling some folks at the table there about the story of when I saw Janine. It was in October of '78 on campus, and I said, I followed her around for 3 hours with my buddies until I got up enough nerve to say hi. I said, in these days and times, I'd be, they'd say I was stalking.
You were stalking her, right?
But I was just scared to death.
I've got a question.
You could send her an email, I guess, now.
I've got a question about Olivet history. Is it true that there was like a blue part of the sidewalk and pink part of the sidewalk, or there were certain sidewalks where girls had to walk down and guys had to walk
Oh,
down.
that sounds like a
This
private
is what I
school
was
thing.
told. This is what I was told.
I've
Okay.
never
That
heard
sounds
of
like
that
high
joke.
school
Okay,
stuff.
so I was like back in the old days is what people would tell us. They would be like, yeah, there was a blue sidewalk and a pink
Well,
sidewalk.
I've never
back in
heard
the
that.
old, way back before me.
Yeah,
The guys wore suits and ties.
I heard that.
And the
yeah,
girls wore skirts. They didn't wear pants at all. Way back there.
It was all about skirts.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
leggings and stuff. Yeah.
that's
So
wild.
they had special sidewalks too, maybe?
No.
No.
Okay.
I think that might have been another college, but people would tell that as like something
At Olivet?
like because Olivet always had its rebels too. Olivet was it was a great melting pot of all different cultures, religions, and
That's what it
people.
sounds like. Yeah.
Even though it's prominently Nazarene in statements, and they have preachers come through every week. At the same time, they still allow for open discourse on all of that.
Sounds like.
And it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And at one point, they dressed very formally, it sounds like.
I guess so.
Joe, when I was a student in the 70s, you couldn't wear blue jeans to class. You had to
I
wear
heard it was
slacks.
khakis. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that sounds like my high school. The high schools were strict like that. I didn't know the universities were.
You
Jeez.
couldn't wear blue jeans to class, and you couldn't wear shorts to class.
Oh.
No, yeah.
Private schools.
I never really wore shorts. Like
yeah,
I don't know.
no.
I've always liked pants.
This is a weird aside, but we're talking about the history. Is it true that the school, and I think it was the Catholic school, well, Nazarene University, but still the private school and universities had a thing where, like, when you were swimming, you didn't have any clothes on, like a bathing suit. Is that or is that just maybe a Chicago
I've
school
never heard
thing?
of that.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
never heard that.
Okay.
one.
No, it's a real thing.
I mean, I believe it. You know,
Steve and Gary
like,
from
the
the radio
world-
used to talk about it in Chicago radio. They used to, like, people would call and they'd have like a day where they were somehow would bring that up. I don't know why, but whatever. So it was a thing, but it wasn't at your college
No,
that you knew about.
No, definitely
back-
not Olivet.
Back in when Olivet moved to this campus was called St. Viator's. It was a Catholic college.
Yeah, it was.
In the late 1800s, a famous Catholic theologian graduated from St. Viator's, which is where Olivet is, and that's Bishop Fulton Sheen.
Oh, I was gonna say, I wonder if it's because my teacher from high school loved that guy. He was on national TV.
That's right. He was on TV. He would be your TV evangelist for the Protestants.
Yeah, I
I
read
thought
a
he
book
was
about
Catholic. I'm like, I
He
guess
was
he could go to
Catholic.
all the.
No,
all
he was-
that.
he's
He was
Okay.
Catholic.
He wasn't
I'm
Nazarene. He was
I'm just,
Catholic. Okay.
Yeah, because he came from
editorializing.
the St. Viator's. Yeah,
which
the-
is St. Viator's
before Olivet.
College,
Yeah.
which closed down in the 1930s. And Olivet was located in the community of Olivet, Illinois, which is just south of Georgetown, Illinois.
I thought so.
Yeah, 2 hours south of where we are now. And we had a fire. It destroyed our campus.
Oh,
And at the same time, here's a God story. Okay, there's a businessman in Boston having his morning coffee, and he picks up the paper and he sees Olivet College destroyed by fire. Tucks it in his mind and goes off to his office, and he goes in a file and he goes, sure enough, Olivet Nazarene College, they own the insurance policy on our college.
Oh,
And then he goes back a little bit further. St. Viator's College. St. Viator's College, Catholic college, closed down because of finances. Olivet College. Okay, here's a college without a campus, and here's a campus without a college. So in Boston, Massachusetts, this guy has the idea, well, why don't we work out a deal where the Nazarene College could move up to Bourbonnais, where we don't have anybody on our campus that's empty now, St. Viator's. And
wow.
so here we go, 1,000 miles away.
Beautiful.
And his only connection was he happened to be the insurance company.
That's right.
That's amazing how things happen, and that's like fate. But there's a lot of things you could say there.
Yeah, we call
Right?
that
God's
Yeah, we
intervention.
call
God
God.
moments.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
it's definitely a divine intervention.
Right.
Yeah, that is wild. And when did that happen? In the 40s?
It
Then?
was 1939.
Oh, right before. Okay,
Yeah, so
1930.
the first class at Olivet finished in 1940 at the campus we're at now.
I didn't know that they were tied into St. Viator because that's a high school, I think, now in the area. I know the name is still somewhere.
I think there is a Viator's high school
Yeah,
somewhere.
something.
But I'm not
But it's
exactly
not a
Arlington
college, right?
Heights, I think.
It's a what?
Arlington Heights, I believe.
Arlington
Yeah,
Heights.
so it's a
okay.
high school, but not a college anymore. Obviously, Olivet's
Yeah.
took over.
Yeah.
That is an awesome story. That I would not
Yeah.
know. I guess you go there and they'll
Mhm.
give you the history of the college at some point.
Yeah, Olivet started in 1907 in Georgetown with elementary kids, and within a year, the farmers down there wanted to create a college, and so they plotted out the land about 5 miles south of Georgetown, and they created this community called Olivet, and that's where it grew up from 1907 to the 30s.
Right.
And
Till 39,
there's
right?
a lot of stories in there,
Oh.
but that's where it was located in the early 1900s.
They actually had their own town.
Yeah, a town was created around it. It was
Kind of like Monmouth almost. Did
Yeah.
Monmouth do the same? I thought.
yeah. I don't know the history of Monmouth.
Yeah.
but Monmouth.
Similar.
Yeah, I've been on that campus.
My
Yeah.
sister went there.
Yeah.
Actually.
I think a lot of places are probably founded based on whatever group was there doing whatever they're doing, and ended up having colleges or whatever they're going to do there.
Higher learning.
Because that sounds like there's a lot of towns that probably have that. I'm off the top of my head, I can't think of them.
Because
But
a lot of colleges retain a lot of the people that go to college there. A lot of towns retain
towns
those
end up-
people. So
yeah.
so it's like it's good to have a college on a.
well, the farmers that founded it, they better stick around. They started the town and the college. They might want to stay
Exactly.
work there.
And here's the other piece of that story. That campus down there in Olivet, where Olivet Nazarene College used to be, it's an organization for boys, and it's a Catholic organization that took over that
Oh,
campus too.
The Catholics took it, not the Nazarene.
It's
Okay.
cool how it's all connected too.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's
there's-
what I liked about Chasing Francis,
Yeah.
because it kind of gave me that, like because every like the Assemblies of God rehab I went to kind of really demonized Catholicism in my
That's
mind,
wild.
and
But
I went.
that book was about the Catholic. We were saying the Catholic faith. You said it earlier.
Yeah, it was about a Presbyterian preacher who reconnected to Catholicism through chasing St. Francis, and through his lifetime,
Through his
and
research.
went to his cave where he was at, kind of visited all those things, and kind of studied St. Francis. And it was definitely a beautiful story, I thought. It kind of reconnected him because he had just had a horrible falling out with his church, and it was like a fallen pastor was what the story was about.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like an interesting book to read. I guess the part that I'm I keep thinking about is the Catholic part. It kind of demonizing the Catholic religion at one point. I mean, I never thought of it that way.
I didn't
guess I've been
demonize
raised
it. I
raised,
just
so.
knew of it as being demonized because certain churches will rail against certain other denominations just out of fear.
Well,
he said.
I mean, I don't know how much you guys talk about this in preaching, but obviously there was the split, Martin Luther and all that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that where it all came from.
99 Theses.
There was
95 Theses.
the Roman
Yeah.
Catholic
Yeah.
Pope and / king, and then
That was on
everybody split
October
off.
31st.
No.
Yeah, it was Reformation Day. That's what it is.
Is it October 31st?
See, I'm
for
telling
real?
you, Joe
Yeah.
knows more than I do.
I said, man, you threw me on that one. I should know
That's
that.
when he nailed the 95 Theses to the Catholic Church.
Oh, I didn't know it was October 31st.
Yeah, I
Learn
know.
something new. I tell you, every time we're on the show, it's always something here. When you leave, you bet. We're gonna do like the video thing. You still got to come up with all this stuff. It's not just gonna be me sitting here talking to the guests. Because at some point Joe won't physically be here, but we'll work it out. But anyway, this is wild that people would think of me as, oh, he's a Catholic, just like in the movie The Blues Brothers. Have you seen the movie The Blues Brothers? Probably everybody. has.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's from 1980 or whatever, and they kind of make fun of that whole thing, but yet the movie is the two guys are from the reform school, and they have this vision from God, and then they go on this mission.
We're on a mission
with
from
all
God.
the cars, and everything, but they're Catholic. So I never thought of people thinking of the book and everything.
Well, every
And Joe-
denomination has its haters.
I guess.
Every school of thought in general has its haters. So
Every
there's-
institution has its.
Well, what about us going
exactly?
What about us spreading the word? Do you think that people are thinking we're evil, and we go to other communities that are, say, I don't know, atheists, bunch of witches? If we go try to talk to them about this stuff, what do you think is going to happen? Have you had that experience? We'll talk to Tony, our guest here.
I've never been I've really never been treated poorly. I don't know.
That's
why.
awesome. I don't want you to have
Yeah.
been. I'm just asking.
He's
how
just
that-
such a kind fellow. Like, honestly, Tony, you've always been just such a kind, jolly person from what I've talked to. Like, and it's not you're not always like jolly and chipper, but like at the same time, you're still jovial. Like,
Well, I just know people are people, and people have challenges, and you got to love people where they are, and that was
Exactly.
one of the things that hit
I
me
wish.
as I've lived life. Realized that you got to give people grace. You got to give people grace because we all have a bad day. I'll tell you a story about Dr. Bowling, who was president of our university. This was early on in the 1990s when internet had just come out. Okay, we've
internet. What's that? Right?
Yeah.
1991.
it
Or
was
whatever.
just, email.
Or email was
and there was
around,
an
yeah.
announcement that came through email,
yeah.
and I forget exactly what it was, but there was an announcement that came through.
We're telling the
email.
story on Facebook now.
Okay, so there's an announcement that came through email, and I don't know. I just it hit me the wrong way, and early 90s. How old was I? I was in my early 30s or somewhere. I don't know. I'm
17.
67,
No,
yeah.
I don't know.
But I hadn't really learned how to use internet yet that well, and I shot an answer back to all these people, and it was not a good answer.
Oh,
And
okay.
the president was included, and the vice presidents were included, and all that. And
It was supposed to be more of a private thing that you didn't realize.
it should not. I should not have reacted the way I did. Okay.
But they had grace.
Well, the vice president of finance, it was a financial thing. The vice president of finance responded back to me. What a wonderful guy. He said, Tony, this doesn't sound like you. And the president, Dr. Bowling, emailed me back. He said, hey, if you have something to say, come and say it to my face. And I realized, I have really
you
messed
did
up.
it now.
Yeah.
Well, that was
And
when
so-
emails were new, like you said. People
Yeah.
weren't used to emails either.
So I emailed back. I
Mass
said, hey,
email.
I am so sorry. I'm sorry. Well, that was it. That was nothing happened. About a week later, I come out the door of the admissions office, and Dr. Bowling, our president's coming out of the president's office, and there's other people there, and I caught his eye, and he caught my eye. We hadn't talked since then. And I go, and he goes, everybody has a bad day, no problem.
That's perfect example. Yeah,
just gave me grace,
and that's really not that
Get
bad.
that.
I thought it was going to be.
and that is Dr. John Bowling.
really
the
bad.
guy was Mr. Class.
He
he's
really
president for
was
30 years.
a great speaker
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
A phenomenal speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
There's some dedication over at that university. There's no. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of colleges have that, where the teachers are there for a long time, but especially your university.
It's
I
a
mean,
great
you're not
place.
done yet. You're back.
yeah, I'm back and rolling, and I don't think I'll ever. I was about to say graduate. I don't think I'll ever retire again.
You'll graduate from the
Yeah.
retirement
I
program.
think
right?
God has shown me that I'm supposed to be raising money for His kingdom. Probably the rest of my life.
It's a good spot to do it in the center of the country.
It's a good
The
place
good
to be
old
a
US of
conduit.
A.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, what I've learned today is that they were, you take like, I guess, people from all faiths, but it is Nazarene, the name. But for some reason, I associated the school with being like, Fenwick, like one of the offshoots. Like there's the Dominicans, there's the Jesuits, Catholic.
Oh,
For
gotcha.
some reason, I always thought it was Catholic.
Other people have thought that.
It was, but it's not. Let's be
No,
very clear.
yeah.
Nazarene Church,
Yeah,
Church of the Nazarene.
Nazarenes really were. They kind of came out of the Methodist Church.
Okay, more
back in
Methodist background.
Back
That makes
in the early
sense.
1900s.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Great school to go to. Everybody looking. We got two
Yeah.
people that could give you references right here.
Right.
They've got a great communication program. They've got a great nursing program. They've got some other great engineering. Oh my
yeah.
goodness, their engineering building
engineering,
is
yeah.
beautiful.
We've traditionally been strong in business and in music.
Oh yeah,
I thought you had a good communication. You just said like
Yeah.
radio
Yeah.
and TV production.
Great
right,
theatrics.
Shine.fm.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So they run. Where do they run that out of? Chicago, or is it out of the university?
Well, we have a radio station right there, but we have several stations around the Midwest that are terrestrial, but we're on the internet.
Of course, you're on the
we
internet,
probably have about 3 or 4 different call numbers, I guess. On
Well, I know of you through radio, through
Yeah.
terrestrial. That's how I knew about it. I just never knew, like, are they maybe specifically run by the university or just maybe funded a little bit? But it is. It's like your deal.
We're connected.
Yeah, it's all through them. And
Yeah.
Bria, right? The
Yeah.
Spanish
Yeah.
Spanish channel,
Right.
Bria FM.
You have a Spanish
Yes,
version of
we do.
the Shine FM.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
that
pretty
I
cool.
did not know.
There's 4 different.
Is
stations,
Denelli
I
still
think,
with
yeah.
them?
I think she is. I think she's been a resident director.
Okay.
Now, they may have just. I'm not sure. Jonathan, her husband,
Yeah.
was a baseball player,
Mhm,
and they
I
stayed
remember.
right there, and they were resident directors. But I don't know if they've gone yet or not. I thought I heard that they were
They were moving.
moving. But
Oh, awesome.
But
Did you
she's
work on
phenomenal.
the station with them?
No, I went to school with Denelli.
Oh, you just
we
went-
we were
okay.
in the communication course together. We acted in quite a few scenes together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's true. It wasn't just radio, television, but it was theater. And
Oh,
all
their
the other
theater
things.
program's
Yeah.
top notch, for sure. When I was there, it was Prof. Cohagen, but the theater program currently is awesome as well.
Do you, when you're doing the fundraising, are you talking to people about all the things that are going on at the university? Or are
Oh,
you
yeah.
focused on the ministry side?
Oh, I'm talking. I'm really fundraising for the entire university.
All right.
However, when I'm connecting with people, I'm connecting with them about their passions. I want to hear their story. Some of these people graduated 40 years, 50 years, 60 years ago. I have people I'm working with in their 90s.
They're still talking. They're still. That's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. And
Good
so
talking
I
to
want to
you.
hear their story. And in the process of hearing their story and learning their heart, I have maybe 2 or 3 things I may want to present to them that they may want to partner with us in helping that particular academic area or that particular project.
Wonderful.
On Friday, I had 3 major gifts just come in Friday. One.
Do you go hand pick them up? You're flying to these places to meet them, or
No, they'll wire it in,
They'll wire
or it might be a stock gift. It might be something that's over the internet.
Does the college pay for you to go around, like
Oh, yeah.
drive or fly? What do they do? They fly you
Both,
around?
yeah.
Oh, you do both.
whatever it takes. I just try to steward it well.
That's
I try to
awesome.
be the most efficient and effective that I can.
I feel like our high school does the same thing, but I don't think to the extent you're doing. I don't think they're traveling around. Maybe to recruit athletes. I don't know about for ministry, but definitely they do some. Like they go all around Chicago at least, because obviously they're a high school in the area.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
I
for
do have
what
donors
the
that-
universities do.
Everything they give goes toward ministerial endowments or scholarships.
Missions trips.
yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah.
missions trips that go from Olivet too.
Right.
So some people just already donate funds.
and
What
they're-
does a mission trip specifically entail? Like you go to a specific country, like you maybe
Yeah.
he's pointing to you, Joe. What would a mission trip be?
I went on a Denver mission trip. We went and volunteered at the homeless shelters around the area. I actually got to tell my testimony there because I was homeless before, drug addict, hardcore, just when I was an atheist, so when I was into all the homelessness stuff, that was when I felt my lowest. That was when I started at my breaking points. So that's kind of what led me to a faith-based rehab.
So they they did it in where'd you say?
We went to Denver, but
Denver.
yeah, so that's when we went out there. We volunteered. We did feeding shelters. There's a lot of homelessness in Denver.
Feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
I think of you guys going out of the country. That's why
Yeah,
I
there-
brought it up.
there's quite a
there's
few,
international
yeah.
trips and there's domestic trips. Both.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that he was the domestic. But
I
they have
was
international.
domestic.
So we've had as many as 250 students.
Go to
they'll
Africa.
They'll take their spring break and go on a mission trip, or they'll
Summer.
stay over and do more summer and go on a mission trip. So yeah, we have a lot of students that will do that. And we're not talking about internships. We're talking about real mission trips.
It's like a real thing.
Yeah.
But that
Real
was what I was going to
service.
ask. I never knew this is it's coming up today of all the program to come on, talk about it. Mission trip. How does it work? Like, is it kind of like the Peace Corps that the president started in the 60s, or are they volunteering time? I mean, how do you
It's Peace
feed
Corps light
everybody?
in a sense. It's like Go Corps. Go Corps is the Christian version of Peace Corps. Peace Corps is more like all in, like more towards all people, all religion.
Well, I'm talking about Olivet specifically. How does it?
Olivet, they go more towards a church, right? Usually they go out to a church. They stay at a church for a while, and then they go out and do service acts, and then also chances to preach to the people in the area of the gospel, because some people will be more receptive to an outside voice rather than someone who they see every day.
Well, do you pay for it then?
Oh, they raise their own money.
They raise money.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You raise your own finances
Yeah.
for it. You get people to donate for you, and you go out and you do what you can. So it's a beautiful time. I know a lot of people who went to Africa, a lot of people who went to India for a service
through
trip.
Olivet's program, or just in
Olivet
general?
has so many programs
Wow.
where you could go
That is awesome.
overseas.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
Are you
And-
coordinating that too? The
No,
mission trips?
I don't.
Okay.
There are people that have done that out of the chaplain's office. We have a full-time chaplain and a chaplain's assistant, and
Who's that right now?
so Antonio Marshall has been the chaplain, but Antonio feels like he should move over toward the athletic area. He's going to be focused on discipling our athletes.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Antonio was a basketball player when he was a student, and then his life was transformed at Olivet. He was a mess when he came to Olivet. He would tell you that. And his life, he gave his life to the Lord really while he was a student at Olivet, and then he felt called in the ministry, and so he served at a church in Grand Rapids for a number of years. And
I love Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I got to say that's a cool
it's a
city.
great city. He came back to be a chaplain's assistant, and at that point in time, Mark Holcomb was our pastor, and then Mark took a position up in northern
Holcomb.
Michigan, at another camp, and so Antonio took over. But now, since Antonio is going to be moving over toward the athletic direction, they're interviewing for other chaplains.
When did Holcomb leave?
It was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Just trying to keep up here. You just got to go and visit and say hello, see what's going on.
I
over
visited
there.
a couple years ago. It kind of freaked me out. I went to a Spoons for Forks reunion show, like where they had alumni come back. It's
That's
like
drama. That was a
They
drama
called it
troupe.
what?
it was
that?
improv
Spoon
troupe.
for-
So like
Spoons
improv.
for fork.
Yeah, it was an improv troupe. So
Don't you
I was
pay
on
attention?
a troupe that traveled to
Joe's
other
perfect
churches
for
and
that.
acted.
I think so.
Yeah, so it was like improv comedy. We would just do skits and bits and stuff like that. And we used to like pack out. Like we used to have like 250 students every time we.
Well, you were doing it for the students at the actual university, not at a bar or something.
We did it at churches all around
churches.
all around the states as well. We did Illinois, like other states. We just
Michigan,
traveled.
Indiana,
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
Michigan.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that went big. It wasn't just Olivet.
No, it was fun. It was a really cool time. Love improv.
And these are all people you knew from Olivet.
Yeah, so I went back to like an alumni show. It was just so weird because I the campus had totally changed. Like I don't even know, the buildings had changed. The Starbucks,
They remodeled a little bit. It sounds like
They got rid of so many. I was just kind of like freaking out. Like
every time I go back, I went to locally. I went to the community college, and then I
Yeah.
went to Benedictine actually, and all of them are like 3 times the size they were when I was there. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa! And my high school's the same way. They built this big parking garage, a new pool. I'm like, man, I guess the word is getting out because I'm talking about private universities here and
Mhm.
private high school.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That Olivet is part of that expansion. So that's a good thing.
They have a great rock wall as well. I used to love that thing.
The
It's
rock wall,
it's like a
as in
4-story
climbing
rock wall.
Oh, that sounds like the
and a
sporting goods.
massive
Like, now
Olympic-sized pool. Yeah.
I'm not going to mention them, then I'll have to get money from. Sporting goods store. You know how they have the rock climbing wall?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that big, probably.
When they did our rock wall, is the second tallest rock wall in a university in the country.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
It's massive. It's 4
It got some
stories.
attention. Come to the school if you want to climb.
I had a blast.
Lot of fun, lot of fun.
That's nice. Well, this is great. I mean, we could just talk forever. I swear. We have another guest. We have another show we got to do. So I just want to make sure. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about the program? Where to get in contact with them and everything?
Sure.
Or
sure.
you?
Sure.
Where do we find you?
You could contact me anytime. My last name is Fightmaster, and my email is Fightmaster. So it's my last name without the last 3 letters.
Got it.
So
Just
it's
fight mast.
Fightmaster.
Spelled just like it sounds, right?
Yeah, FIGHTMAS at olivet.edu.
He doesn't talk about his boxing days.
To be honest, I thought maybe your name was you changed it or something, but that's your name. So
I was a wrestler in high school and college.
I believe it. You got the
would
build.
make sense. That's funny.
Yeah, I went to the NAIA Nationals.
Now they're not going to
That's
forget your name.
awesome.
Oh, that was
That's so
Olivet.
cool.
Look at this. He went to nationals, everything.
I did not know that. That is
So
really cool.
Is it Tony Fightmaster?
Tony Fightmaster is my name. Well,
No, the contact.
The email is Fightmass. It's leave the TER off of it. Fightmass at olivet.edu. And my cell phone is 815-505-0684. Feel free to call.
Oh, okay. So you can call him up.
Yeah.
You want to chat with them about Olivet or just the ministry in general?
Yeah.
Jesus,
No
That's-
doubt.
that is
Absolutely.
great stuff. I'm telling you, every week I feel like, wow, we can't top it, and then we top it again. A wonderful conversation. Great guest. Really happy to have you here. Thanks for coming, Tony. It's nice to
Great
meet
be
you.
here.
Now I feel like we gotta pay a visit down to Olivet someday, Libby.
Absolutely. Come.
It's a great place, honestly. It's a fun time.
I mean, like I said, the last time I remember going there was to see the Bears, and I was quick story, and we'll end is I didn't get a chance to meet them. They were like waving and throwing footballs and stuff, but they wouldn't let us in because I guess you had to have tickets or something. I'm like, well,
yeah.
for the practices, they have tickets.
Did
So-
did they already have the concert? Because I was kind of wanting to go to Colony House. Is that already done?
No.
So there's a concert at the auditorium. One of the big Christian rock bands. Colony
Well, we
House.
got to talk about that
Yeah.
off the air because that sounds like a good. We should talk about it on the air. But anyway, thanks for being here. It was wonderful having you, Joe, of course, and Libby. I'm
Hi.
Mario J. Bell. Another episode that went by very quickly. Like I said, we could talk forever here in Bell and Company. Everybody, take care and listen to us everywhere. Basically, you can find podcasts and live streams at IntellectualRadio.com. Take care, everybody. See you next time.